Hey YouTube! Sorry if the sound quality on this video is a little weird. I'm in my kitchen, as you can see, and I'm not usually, but I've got an unboxing for you from Amazon today, so cool. It appears that it's shaking the camera a little bit when I open this because I'm hulking out on it and ripping it open. Alright, so we've got these. Got a case for my phone, but you don't care about that. So, in the box, cubes. We will open this one first. This is my pillowed 3x3x3 cube from QJ. I have the 3x3x4, or I have the pillowed 4x4 and the pillowed 5x5, and I do not have the pillowed 3x3, or I did not. So now I do. The only problem is my other two ones are black, and this one is white, like the way I usually prefer my puzzles. But oh well. So here it is. The box it came in was just a boring little box. Unimportant. I'm trying to get the angle set up on this. It's weird. So here it is. It looks like they took a standard size 3x3 and just shaved it down, which is what's to be expected. It doesn't look super duper pillowed. It feels like it's a little bit less pillowed than my V-Cube 3 is, and than the 4x4 and the 5x5 are. Because as you can see here, it's really not pillowed very much. It's pretty straight. But it is pillowed somewhat, and that is kind of neat. You can definitely feel it. The turning is pretty good. I don't have a QJ 3x3. Well, I have the little mini ones, but those feel a good bit different. This is probably most similar almost to the YJ Finhop 3x3. And it actually looks like they use a similar thing. If you look at that center cap right there, I'll let it focus, you can see those little lines on the edges there. I don't know if you can see that. But that's a little like rim that comes up from the center core arm that the little center cap, you can see it sort of snaps into it there. And that's similar to how the 3x3 Finhop from YJ is. But yeah, the turning is not bad. It's not super awesome, but QJ puzzles usually aren't super awesome, but they're usually pretty decent. And this is the same. It doesn't require much effort to turn. It feels and sounds a little dry, as I'm sure that you can hear from that, but I'm sure some lubrication will make that go away a bit. But it doesn't require much force, and it doesn't seem to want to lock up much, which is nice. And the corner cutting is pretty decent. It can't quite do that much of a corner cut. Oh, it can if you work it a little bit, I suppose. But that's about all it can do comfortably. Is, you know, not even about half a QB. So that's not too bad. That's not too good either. But it's, again, I only expected this to be a decent puzzle, and that's what it is. So I'm pretty happy with it. I would prefer it to be pillowed a little bit more than it is, but oh well. Alright, and so to compare, I have gotten my 4x4 and 5x5 by QJ. Those are my V-Cube 3 to compare it to. So first, this is my pillowed QJ 4x4, and this is the pillowed QJ 3x3. As you can see, the pillow on both of these cubes is a little boxy. It's not very pillowed, it's not really rounded, and that's okay. It'd probably be a little bit less maneuverable if it were more pillowed, but it's kind of annoying because if you buy a pillowed puzzle, you really want it to be pillowed. If I wanted a cubic 4x4 and 3x3, I would have purchased a cubic 4x4 and 3x3. But yeah, so you can definitely see the resemblance. You can also see that they do not match color-wise, but that's okay. But yeah, they're just sort of flat, very boxy pillowed cubes, but that's okay. And here's the 5x5. And the 5x5 is a little more pillowed, probably because it's so much bigger, it would have to be a little more pillowed, but it's not super duper pillowed, but this is sufficiently pillowed. And you can see it's pillowed a good deal more than the 3x3, which is just sort of a rounded box. And then here's the V-Cube 3, which is my only other pillowed 3x3. And you can see a few differences. One, the V-Cube 3 is a lot larger. This is because I believe they took a standard 3x3 and added to it to make the V-Cube 3x3. And whereas I believe with the QJ 3x3, they took a standard cube and took away from it. Because if you look, those middle layers, let me try and line this up in the webcam, it's kind of awkward. Those middle layers look like they're just about the same height. As you can see, it looks like, since the center layers are the same height, it looks like they started with a standard size 3x3. And what they did was, on the V-Cube 3, they added to the center and then rounded that down, added and rounded that down. So they built up the center and the inside part of these edge groups to make it pillowed. And the reason they would have done that is so that the outer edge still has you know, it still feels like a very similar size to this one. Whereas the QJ, they tend to take a standard size one and then just shave it down instead of building it up, so that the end result is you can look and you can see that corner piece is like a quarter the size of one of the standard size pieces on the inside. And so then this top layer gets locked up and it feels super skinny, and then the middle layer is a lot bigger. Whereas so on the V-Cube, the way they do it, it ends up all feeling like it's about the same size. So the QJ 3x3, they did what they did on the 4 and the 5, and they took a standard size one and shaved it down, and so it's a little bit smaller than a normal one. But that's okay, it's kind of neat. It is definitely small, but oh well. So this is the QJ Pillowed Pyramorphinx. I am super excited about this puzzle. I've been wanting it for a while, and I finally got one. And I feel like it should be a shape mod of a 3x3, but never having held one of those, I'm not positive about that. But I will get to you on that in just a moment. First impressions, the stickers look a little pale. They don't look quite as bright and vibrant as QJ stickers usually do. And they look, I don't know, a little pale. But it's kind of neat having this puzzle be pillowed. A pillowed tetrahedron is a really weird shape to hold in your hands, and this is the first one I've held. But I kind of like it. And it does look like it is just a shape mod of a 3x3. This piece right there is the center. Then that trapezoidal piece, that trapezoidal piece, that trapezoidal piece, and that trapezoidal piece are all edges. And then this big old corner here, that little tiny triangle in there, this big old corner, and this little tiny triangle are all corners. So it is a shape mod of a 3x3, but it's interesting in that it's a 3x3, which is originally a 6-sided puzzle, shape modded down into being a tetrahedron, which is a 4-sided puzzle. So as you can see, there's only 4 colors: green, blue, yellow, and red. And so while it still turns like a 3x3 in that you can see here's one layer, here's another layer, and here's the third layer. Here's one layer, here's another layer, and there's the third layer. It will function, you'll solve it completely differently, I would imagine, because it no longer has 6 sides, so it would solve a little bit differently. But I'm not sure. I'll have to get back to you guys. But as I'm sure you know, there will be a tutorial on my page because I tend to like doing tutorials of shape mods of 3x3s. One last thing we'll talk about on this cube is the corner cutting. Now it's going to be hard to see how much I've got this corner cut, but I've got what feels like a little bit, and it won't turn at all. Maybe because I'm not turning it properly. Yeah, that seems to want to hang it up. Yeah, it'll corner cut a little bit, but not much at all. But the turning on it does feel pretty smooth. Yeah, it really doesn't feel bad turning. And I feel like this is not the kind of thing that you're going to be shape-shifting, so it's not a huge problem. But yeah, I like it. And then, last but not least, is I have a very similar puzzle. This is the YJ Hyun's Tower puzzle, and it's basically a non-pillowed version of the Pyramorphinx. It's a tetrahedral shape mod of a 3x3. So let's get in here. If I can get out of this. One thing, I like the box. I like the fact that they made a box that actually fits the shape of it instead of just putting it in a square box with something filled in to hold it in. So this one is a lot bigger than the Pyramorphinx, but you can see that it looks very similar. Let me line this up here. You see, it's still got the centers, it's still got these edges up here, or the pieces up here, and these pieces on the corner, and this top part. And yeah, so it's the exact same puzzle, it's the exact same thing, it's just a lot bigger, and it's not pillowed. So these ends are huge, and it may look like a Pyramorphinx, but it's not. These don't turn. So again, alright, so we'll look at the stickers on this one first. It does have the YJ textured stickers, but the texture looks to be a little bit finer than usual. That's not something you're going to be able to see in the video, but it just feels smoother and looks less textured than normal. The colors are almost a little more pastel than usual. I don't have a YJ puzzle here to compare it to, but I feel like that's a very like almost dark pastel green, and this is a very like flat pastelish red, and that might just be an effect of the smooth texture on the stickers, but I don't know, it looks kind of neat. So yeah, and it's very big. That's another thing. It's a giant puzzle. Like, here's an unstickered, standard-sized 5x5, and here's the Hyun's Tower pyramid. And you can just see it literally towers over it. It's that entire top triangle is almost higher up than the rest of this 505. Let me try and move it. But yeah, you see that? So it's a big puzzle, and it's made from a 3x3, which makes it even more impressive that it's that big. But let's get some turns in here, and again, it's a shape mod of a 3x3 like the Pyramorphinx. From that angle, this is a layer, and this is a layer. So you can see it is a shape mod of a 3x3, but it looks more like a Pyramorphinx. It's a tetrahedron, like the Pyramorphinx is. So turning, it's super light and easy. I mean, that takes no force to turn at all. It's very light and airy and springy. There's not much resistance at all. It turns really smoothly and lightly. Yeah, and then it feels very springy and very light. The YJ 3x3 feels like this when it came out of the box, or the YJ Fisher Cube, or the YJ Axis Cube. All of those have the same light, like fluffy, airy feel to it. So if you have any of those puzzles, you know what I'm talking about. As far as any corner cutting goes, I don't even know how you would assess that on this, but yeah, you can cut a little bit, not much, but you're not really going to be doing much corner cutting on this puzzle because it's so big and so weird shaped. So I'm excited for both of these. I'm not sure which I'll like better, the little tiny pillowed Pyramorphinx or the big, tall, unpillowed tetrahedric Hyun's Tower puzzle. But both of them are shape mods of 3x3s, and so I will be having a tutorial for that up in a few days because I have a video series on tutorials of shape mods. Then I've also got my little pillowed QJ 3x3, which adds to my collection. So all in all of these are decent puzzles. I would recommend them to anyone. They're not going to be the best quality puzzles out there, but you're not really going to be speed cubing with these. They're all sort of novelty puzzles, like a little pillowed 3x3 and a Pyramorphinx. You're not going to be speed solving this, but the quality does feel pretty good. I don't feel like it's going to fall apart on me on any of these puzzles. And yeah, if these are something you're interested in based on what they are, I would say go ahead and get them. I recommend them. They're not super expensive and the quality seems pretty good. So thanks for watching this unboxing and have a great day.